64. That's how many more homes hit the Winston-Salem market this July compared to last July. But here's the problem. The buyers didn't quite come with them. While prices in Winston-Salem have still continued to grow since 2022, they've basically stopped moving over the last 90 days. Now, before anyone panics, this is not a crash. It's not even a decline, but something real is happening underneath the surface of our market. And there's one number in this month's data that I think explains all of it. So let's dig in. I'm Michaela Wall, broker and owner of the W Group Real Estate, and every month I sit down with the actual sold data for Winston-Salem, Lewisville, Clemmons, Pfafftown, and Kernersville, not the national headlines, just what actually happened right here in our local market, and I walk you through what it means for your home. If you own a home anywhere in the Winston-Salem area, this channel exists just for you. So if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. I'm always here with everything you need to know and happy to answer questions one-on-one. All right, this month I'm calling it the way I see it. The market hit pause on prices. Not a rewind quite yet, just pause. And by the end of the video, I think you're going to understand exactly why that happened and what it means for your home's value and the growing divide in the market that I don't think most people have started to notice yet. So let's start with Winston-Salem. In July, 440 new listings came on the market in Winston-Salem. Last July was 376, 64 more homes, a 17% jump in new inventory. But now on its own, more listings isn't good news, it isn't bad news. It just means that more sellers decided it was time. The question that actually matters is, did buyer activity keep up? Here's your answer. 332 closed sales in July compared to 323 last July. That's up 9 sales, about 3%. So listings grew 17% and sales grew 3%. Think about what that means for a second. Significantly more homes competing for essentially the same number of buyers. That gap doesn't show up on a price tag right away, but it does show up somewhere, and I'll show you exactly where that is in just a minute. Okay, so prices. The rolling 90-day median sales price in Winston-Salem came in at $299,000. Last month was $300,000. Down $1,000. Statistically, it's flat. But here's the context that makes it all very interesting. Since the middle of 2022, right after the massive increase that we saw in prices, Winston-Salem has mostly had a slow, steady price growth. Nothing dramatic, just a reliable climb. And over the last 90 days or so, that climb has really flattened out. The engine's still running, the car just isn't moving forward right now. Now, and this is where people get confused. The rolling 12-month median tells a different story. $300,000 today versus $287,000 a year ago. That's up 13% or 4.5%. The 12-month number is well behind us. That's appreciation that took place last fall and last winter. It shows us if the market is relatively healthy overall. But the 90-day number is our moment-by-moment health check of what's happening right now. Something we should pay attention to is this is what's over normally the hottest part of the year. We could see this turn into a bigger story over the fall and the winter. If you bought your home a few years ago, you've still gained real value. That gain has not gone anywhere. What has changed is that for the moment, the market isn't adding to that value. So why did prices pause? Our days on market start to explain it. The rolling 90-day median is 18 days. It's actually 1 day faster than last month. Summer buyers were out, no questions there, but compare it to last July of 14 days. Homes are taking 4 days longer to sell than they did just a year ago. 1 day, month to month is noise. 4 days year over year, that's a trend. The market is measurably less urgent than it was last summer. But here's where it gets really interesting because that 18-day median is hiding something. I went through the July sold list line by line. Nearly a third of the homes that sold in Winston-Salem sold in 1 week or less. 7 days, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. But at the same time, almost a quarter of them took more than 60 days, and 40 homes took over 90 days. So you heard that right. Same city, same month, same market. One group of homes selling in days, another group sitting for months. And that's the number I told you about at the top. This market has split into a fast lane and a slow lane, and the divide is starting to grow. I'm going to come back to this because I do think it's the most important thing of the whole video. But first, I want to finish the whole Winston-Salem picture. The months of supply. This is the metric that measures balance. How long would it take to sell everything currently on the market at the current sales pace? For the month of July, it was 3.8 months. Last July, it was 2.7. That's a jump of more than 40%. And it's not a 1-month blip. The rolling 90-day average moved from 3.1 to 3.4 just since last month. So inventory is building steadily in one direction. For reference, somewhere around 5 to 6 months is traditionally considered a balanced market. So we're not there yet. Sellers still technically have the edge, but a year ago at 2.7 months, that edge was a whole lot sharper. The market is walking, not running towards a balance. And when you stack all of that up, 17% more listings, 3% more sales, 4 extra days on market, supply up 40%. The flat prices suddenly make perfect sense, don't they? This is what a pause looks like from the inside. Okay, that divide that I mentioned. Let me make it real because this is the part that actually affects what your home is worth. Imagine 2 sellers this July, similar neighborhoods, similar homes. The first one preps the house, prices it right at the market, and they list on Thursday. By Sunday night, they have 2 offers. They sold in 5 days over asking price. From where she's sitting, this market is on fire. The second seller lists the same week, but prices where he hoped the market was, not where the market actually is. 2 weeks later, no offers, a price cut, then another price cut, and 103 days later, they close well below what he probably could have landed if he had priced correctly from day one. From where he's sitting, this market is completely dead. Same market, same month, 2 completely different experiences, and both of them are telling their friends the truth about what they experienced. But now here's the watch point, and I want to be careful to frame this as exactly what it is, something we are watching, not something that's happened yet. If this divide keeps widening, we could end up with prices moving in 2 directions at once. The fast lane, well-priced, well-presented, move-in ready, could keep appreciating, while the slow lane, overpriced, dated, sitting inventory could start to see prices slip. The citywide median would just average those together and say flat, but underneath flat, some homes would be gaining and some homes would be giving up ground. We're not there yet, but with inventory building the way that it is, the lane that your home is in is starting to matter more than the market that it's in. So keep that idea in your pocket because you're about to see versions of it in every community around Winston-Salem. Let's go to Lewisville. Lewisville was the bright spot of July. Honestly, it wasn't even close in comparison. New listings, 35, up from 29 last July, 21% more inventory coming on the market. But look at closed sales, 30, up from 22 a year ago, a 36% jump in buyer activity. Remember the Winston-Salem pattern, supply growing faster than demand. Lewisville flipped it. Demand grew faster than supply, and when that happens, added inventory doesn't build on the market, it gets bought up. And the rest of the data backs this up. The rolling 12-month median price ticked up from 420 to 425. Days on market, 28 versus 27 last month, essentially unchanged. Now, Lewisville is a smaller market, so I never want to overread just 1 month, but 36% more sales is not subtle. Buyer demand in Lewisville is really healthy right now. And if you live in Lewisville or you're even thinking about moving here, I publish a dedicated Lewisville market update every month where I go much deeper than I can here, and I will link that below for you. Now Clemmons. Clemmons is a different conversation. If you watched last month's video, you'll remember Clemmons was our watch point. A surge of new listings had hit the market, and the question was, would buyers absorb them? July just gave us our first real answer. New listings, 58, up from 46 last July, 26% increase. So the supply wave did not stop. Closed sales, 50 versus 49 a year ago, up 1 sale. So the gap between what's coming on and what's selling didn't close in July, it continued. Meanwhile, the 12-month median held at exactly $425,000 flat. Days on market held at exactly 23 days, flat. But here's local context. Clemmons had steady price appreciation for years, right up until the spring. We saw that level out and it's been flat ever since the start of the year. So put it together: supply climbing for a second straight month, sales flat, prices that already stopped growing months ago. None of that's price softening. I do want to be clear about that. But Clemmons prices haven't dropped. But when a market stacks more and more inventory at the same number of buyers month after month, price softening is what can eventually follow. Clemmons may be getting much closer to that line. So that's our watch point again for next month. And specifically, I'm watching the Clemmons price data now, not just the inventory. If softening shows up anywhere in our area first, I think this is our candidate. All right. From the market that I'm watching the most carefully to the fastest market in the entire region, Pfafftown. 13 days. That's the median days on market in Pfafftown right now. Exactly the same as last month. Fastest in the region again. In fact, the July sold data, 7 of the 19 homes that closed in Pfafftown sold in a week or less. The rest of the picture is just as steady. New listings 22 up from 19 last July. Closed sales 19 up from 17 last July. Both sides grew a little bit together, which is exactly what balance looks like. And the 12-month median held right at the $338,000 mark. But the honest caveat, and you've heard me say this before, 19 sales is still a small sample. Small markets can swing month to month for reasons that have nothing to do with a trend. So I do hold Pfafftown's numbers a little bit more loosely than I do Winston-Salem's. But even with that caveat, a 13-day market is a 13-day market. While the region overall has downshifted, homes in Pfafftown are still moving fast. If you're a Pfafftown homeowner, your community is sitting firmly in that fast lane that we talked about. And just like Lewisville, I publish a dedicated Pfafftown market update every single month. If you want the deeper dive, that link is in the description below. Okay, one market left, and honestly, it's the one that I have the fewest answers about. Kernersville did something in July that no other market in our area did. It shrank on both sides. New listings, 99, down from 107 last July, 7.5% fewer homes coming on the market. Closed sales, 76, down from 99, 23 fewer sales, a 23% drop in buyer activity in just 1 year. And the other indicators moved too. The 12-month median price slipped from $340,000 to $337,500. Small, but it's the only price decline anywhere in this month's report. Days on market rose from 18 to 20, so fewer sellers, noticeably fewer buyers, price ticking down, homes taking a bit longer. That's several market indicators shifting at one time, and honestly, it's very unusual. But here's where I owe you honesty over just a tidy story. 1 month of data doesn't tell me why. This could be a temporary lull. Buyers stepped back for a season. It could be normal volatility that washes out next month, or it could be the early edge of a genuine cool down in Kernersville. The data we have just simply doesn't settle that for us yet. What I can tell you is what we know. Several indicators moved in the same direction in the same month, and that earns Kernersville a spot on the watch list. Where exactly it's headed, that remains to be seen, and I'd rather tell you that we're watching than manufacture some conclusion that the numbers don't yet support, but next month's data will tell us a lot. Okay, so let's zoom back out and let's put this whole month together. Here's July in one sentence. The Winston-Salem area market hit a pause on prices. Inventory is building faster than demand, but values are holding. Underneath that one sentence, every community played its own part. Winston-Salem showed us the full anatomy of the pause. Lewisville proved that buyer demand's alive and well where conditions line up. Clemmons showed us what happens when supply gap persists and why we're now watching its prices specifically. Pfafftown reminded us a small tight market can stay fast while the region slows, and Kernersville gave us the month's genuine question mark. For homeowners, your home has not lost value. The equity you've built over the last few years is still intact. The 12-month numbers still show it. What changed is that the market isn't currently adding to it. A pause is not a decline. For sellers, the fast lane and the slow lane are real, and you choose your lane before your sign ever goes in the yard. Price at the market, not at your hopes, and present the home well. And July's data says you can still sell it quickly. Miss on the price, though, and with 40% more supply out there than last year, the market will let you sit. The days on market bailing out an overpriced listing are behind us for now. For buyers, This is quietly the most choice you've had in years, more listings, less urgency, and a growing slow lane full of sellers who have been sitting for 60 plus days. That's where your negotiating room lives. You don't have to rush, but the well-priced homes in the fast lane still are not going to wait for you. But here's what I'm watching for next month, so you know exactly what would change my read. Clemmons price data. Any sign of softening? Kernersville sales volume. Does it bounce back or does it confirm the slowdown? And that Winston-Salem fast lane, slow lane divide, is it wider or is it narrower? That's the scoreboard. Now, everything I just gave you is market level data, and it tells you what the market's doing, but it can't tell you what your home is worth or which lane your home would land in if you listed it next month. That's a conversation. So if you're wondering what this actually means for your house and your equity, your timing, please call me. My number is right down below. No pitch, no pressure. We'll look at your specific home against this exact data, and you'll walk away knowing where you stand. And I really, really love having these conversations with you. So that's July in the Winston-Salem area, a market catching its breath and a divide worth watching. If this helped you understand your market just a little bit better, do me a favor, subscribe so that you do not miss next month's update, because between Clemmons and Kernersville, August's data is going to answer some real questions for us. Share this with a neighbor who's been wondering what's going on in the market. And if you're seeing something different in your neighborhood, tell me down below in the comments. I read every single one, and honestly, some of my best insights start right there. I'm Michaela Wall with the W Group. I will see you next month. And until then, I've got my eye on the market so you don't have to.